Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So I've let this sit for a little while. I found the fraying of the stems and the smaller leaves was really disturbing me, and also remember I wanted to get rid of the orange under here, so I cut this and then remembered that I'd actually used interface to glue these two together. So by that time, with the fraying and with this, I lost it. I lost my patience with it, and I decided that it is a bit hard for me to work with my hands, and that I am not liking it. It's the first time I would say I'm putting something down that I've started without persevering, but I do not like it at all. So I don't know if I'll come back to it later, but that's a decision I've made, and I'm happy with that decision because now I can just focus on my little bits. So I have got a little bit of footage here of me painting the little box of flowers, which I'll insert now. Okay, so I have drawn a little box where the flowers are going, and I am putting on a bit of gesso so I've got something to paint on top of. I use my heat sensitive pen and an right angle ruler to draw the corners, and just getting a thick coverage. I'm already liking the way that it's got the raised edges of the material underneath. It really makes it look like a canvas that has got very many layers built up. Now, before I do anything else, I am going to let this layer dry and come back. Now that it's dry, I lay out the pieces of paper that I'd cut out, a rough estimate of what I sketched out, and even now I'm sketching it out and it's still a rough estimate, but I'm still wanting to get that Paul Cezanne flavour, and using his tulips as my flowers that are laying on the table. And now that I have penciled them in, I have to decide what I'm going to do next. I know what I really wanted to do, and I really wanted to oil paint. However, I'm a bit rusty with the oil paints, and I think I didn't have the confidence to do that. Perhaps in the future I'll get to it. But I got out my beautiful set of 72 Inktense pencils and layered up a bit of red, a bit of orange, and then added a bit of yellow onto the flowers and filled in the leaves with a couple of different shades of green. I was really enjoying the process. As much as I'd wanted to use oil paints and a brush, I found that I was thoroughly enjoying the ease of using a pencil and the sketchiness of it. And I was just thinking how artists have many layers to their work, and the way that we build up the layers to create the pieces that we want to show to the world. So once I finished with the Inktense pencils, I grabbed my little water pen. It's got the brush at the top and a chamber to put water in, and I find it's really great to wet up those Inktense pencils and get your design happening. I have a bit of paper by the side just to dab off the colour, but also to squeeze and get a little bit of a blob to wet the brush. So even though I'd used white gesso for my background, it was more to make the material become more acceptable of the Inktense or a paint, whatever I was going to use. And I never intended it to be staying in that blank white look. Paul Cezanne's pictures were quite moody, especially the original one that I looked at as an example. So I'm using some darker intense on the background. So I've layered up a darkish brown and a tealy kind of colour for the background, and now I am just going to blend that in with a bit of water and work my way around the flowers and the leaves. I've edited out a bit here because I'm not quite sure what happened with that flaring on the right hand side of the screen there, but it was annoying me, so I thought it might annoy you, and I've edited it out. So here is my little panel finished and waiting to dry. Just doing a little few touch-ups with bright yellow, and then I'll wait for it to dry. Okay, oh well, I hope you enjoyed seeing that, and here it is now, it's dry, and I realised that it looks like a little painting sitting propped up on the table with the jars of flowers. So this is still February, and I did do 2 jars, I just haven't got 2 vases, but I wanted to show you now that it's dried. I'm doing a twisted chain. So I just want to show you how that works if you're interested. So when instead of going into the chain and coming up as you would with a lazy daisy or just a normal chain stitch, you're coming to the left of the chain and then you're coming in the same line. So I drew in pen, I can iron that off, and instead of coming around this way as you would for a normal chain, you're going around that way. So as you pull it through, it's twisting. So I'm thinking I'll look at it when I've finished going around and decide whether or not I want to do another row, because I had been thinking possibly I might do another row of a different stitch even. But once you get into the hang of it and the thread's the right way around, it flows really easily. I'm using 3 strands of embroidery floss. I'm using a variegated blue through to green through to yellow because it matches the colorscape, and for me it matches the mood. Which is what I was going for with the tulips. I actually really am enjoying feeling this gesso. I have missed painting, to be honest. I think I'll have to remedy that. But like I did say that I wanted to do a bit of painting, so must be time to get back to it. So my thoughts about doing another vase of flowers, I don't know. I really did decide I disliked the large piece so much that I almost don't want to do another vase of flowers. For continuity, it'll end before March and we'll start a new, well, we will start a new prompt before March. Okay, so I think that is thick enough, the twisted chain. I was contemplating doing another row of another stitch, but I don't want to detract from these. I showed Jutta this panel and she took a photo because her mum's an embroiderer and her mum's, I don't know, 80 or something in Germany, and so she wanted to show the picture with her name, Jutta's Ginger Jars. So I have still got to do the leaves. That's the only thing I've got to do with that. And now that I've really decided I am not even going to look at the big one for a while. I'm contemplating another vase of flowers. I'm heading up to Ballarat to stay with a girlfriend. Her partner's moved over from New Zealand and I'm hanging out to see him. And we always just have a lovely art attack and hang out, which is really lovely. Possibly, as Susanna's workshop is on and it's only, I don't know, 3/4 of an hour drive away, I actually might pop in and say hello to the girls one lunch this week, Wednesday or Thursday. Other than that, I'm going to call this the end of my February, even though I know I'll do these leaves, so I can clear it out of my mind to get my thoughts onto the next one. And hopefully over the next couple of days, what I'll do is see a vase of flowers somewhere that I can sketch to keep up with the sketching and the, you know, the whole process with these smaller panels. So I hope you've enjoyed that. Maybe it's a little bit short, but I'm quite happy to consider I may have put this one to bed at last, although I can see I can probably still come back and do some stitching on the snowdrops. And I think I've got one more line here of this to do. Maybe I was going to do that on camera, I can't remember, but it looks like I can fit another one in. So there's a couple of things to do, but other than that, I'm going to call it now finished February and moving into March, and let's see what's next. All right, thank you for being here. I'll see you soon. Bye for now.